Cloud. All right, so welcome to k8gb community meeting. First time in 2024. I'm sharing my screen. Is it visible? All good?
Yeah.
Cool, thank you. So, two of us today. Thanks all for joining. So quickly, I prepared some agenda, and obviously feel free to interrupt if you have any questions and if you have some topics. I think we also need to discuss UPR Tanuj later on, but let's go through the prepared agenda, and then we can discuss stuff. No, Peter is joining. That's cool. Peter, hello, happy New Year.
Hi, good afternoon.
Hey, hey. Cool, thanks for joining. Can you please add yourself to this attendees list?
Yeah,
In the
I will
meantime?
do that.
Thank you. All right, so I'll start to go through the agenda. Feel free to add your topics there. So first thing first, what was concluding k8gb activity last year is this release, as quite amount of things there. I highlighted the Cloudflare support and a great contribution by Vitor. So it was quite a long-term PR that we were merging in, right? Giving non-clarity with the test and things and stuff. And thanks a lot for all the amendments and fixes. And it's a part of release. Thanks a lot, Vitor. And Cloudflare support, yeah, it's pretty useful. So we have this kind of official HDNS integration. I think I tested it on my side. It works. So it's available as well. There were some fixes in a release pipeline. So with a signature. So as you might know that we are doing the sign release. So with salsa security stuff, and cosign was failing. So the associated GitHub action was outdated, so we fixed that. I think Irji also added some fixes to OLM pipelines, the stuff that we are pushing to OpenShift Red Hat Artifact Hub. So like this job is also fixed, so everything looks good. That's it for the release update. If no questions, I will proceed. Annual review, long-term stuff. If you're familiar with CNCF processes, they asking for annual review of sandbox projects with update what's happened last year, project evolution and stuff. It was in review for several months and it was merged, all good. Any shared feedback that they will not be practicing it in 2024 for sandbox. It will be more lightweight, but in our case, we basically unblocked to apply for incubation, and that's something that I have on my radar for first quarter of this year to create the submission and hopefully move the project to higher adoption layer according to CNCF. I think we satisfy all criteria.
Cool.
The flaky turret test, yeah. So as related to what we discussed with Vitor's PR, so like we had a long-term issues with our pipeline, and yearly, at the end of the year, I fixed a lot of parallelization issues, and it was like last annoying failure, and I fixed this one, so it was like a frequently failing pipeline here. It was due to 503 on a testing pod, and I fixed that. Let me remind myself what was the fix. The fix was pretty much not failing on 503 because pod needs to start up, right, for some reason. So like it's kind of internal timeout threshold, so it's not immediately failing, and it helped dramatically with this test. And in addition to that, we used like, GitHub Actions concurrency for parallelization. So like we were not running two heavy tests relatively heavy pipelines like a turret test and update turret test in parallel. So they were mutually exclusive, and that partially due to this flakiness, right? So given that we got rid of flakiness, I got rid of concurrency limit, and now they just executed in parallel. And as a part of this fix, we already can see the benefits. So if I open the pull request again, as you can see, open PRs. So like currently, most of them are stably green, right? We still have one flaky test, which is not Terra test. And this is this goal length huge, and this is annoying, but comparing to the Terra test ones, it's quickly to run and it's becoming green. I mean, we need to fix that, but at least it's not super blocking. And I think I have the issue for that. Somewhere here, yeah, k8gb opened it like a real while ago, and I have a stable reproducer for that locally. So if you do like a test with a count higher than 1, pretty much like 10 is reliable number parallel tests, then it will fail exactly as in the pipeline. So if somebody have time and desire to attack this one, it's easy to reproduce, right? So you can quickly get the local situation. So it would be nice to fix later on, but currently, like at least the heavy tests, they're stable, all the Terra test ones. And Tanush, maybe like you are new to the project, right? So I'm not sure if you've seen them before, but we have Terra tests, which basically, it has nothing to do with the Terraform, to avoid confusion. It's an end-to-end test, and we are using groundwork extension of a groundwork framework Terra test with ARM testing DSL. So basically, we're driving the heavy test, like, deploy 2 clusters, install k8gb, wait for expectations, and we have this kind of pretty, like, convenient DSL, how to expect application behavior and GSLB behavior, pretty end-to-end. So just to provide you context.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, we have interesting upstream activities that I also plan to tackle. So like also for context for newcomers, as you pretty much aware, we're using external DNS as a part of the kind of k8gb subsystem, right? That is talking to the external DNS providers to configure a zone delegation automatically, specifically NS records. And part of that requirement, like, we added NS record support to multiple providers in external DNS project, and one of them is Azure DNS itself, right? So currently we are running 4. External DNS is not the fastest project in open source regarding the review, right? So like somebody in 2022, Sebastian from Microsoft, I believe, he opened the pull request, and the pull request is super useful, but as you can see, it's still not merged. Now we need to go through some complex rebase. So good news that maintainers apparently got activated, but anyway, we'll always run a fork because the review cycle of external DNS is unfortunately super long. Yeah. So we did it this kind of ping pong for several times. So we were running fork, we were merging back to upstream, and now we are back to fork because of this situation, because basically this review cycle is unpredictable, and you can find the external DNS in a k8gb organization exactly for this reason, right? So we are maintaining fork to unblock ourselves with this required functionality. So that's also like kind of useful information. for overall project management perspective. So yeah, my plan is to find some time and rebase that stuff. Super quick attempt didn't work because a lot of stuff changed. I mean, tests are failing, you know, like 2 years
Yeah, it's a lot of things.
open PRs, yeah, they're not easy to rebase, unfortunately. So we'll see. But anyway, good news, upstream got active, and yeah. A KubeCon call. So, if do you guys know if you will be able to attend KubeCon Europe
I'm not sure. There are
this
talks
year?
here at the BCP to
Uh-huh.
check. I might go as well with Nuno, but so far there's no decision yet.
Okay, not yet confirmed.
Yeah.
What
Nuno
about you,
will
Tanush?
probably be there, of course, but let's see if I can also join.
Yeah, that'll be awesome.
Yeah, most probably I might not make it, but yeah, let's see. I think I'm waiting for the submissions and so
Ah,
I
yeah,
have
yeah,
to
yeah.
get in. Yeah. So
Oh, yeah.
I'll check probably check in later with you if I will be able to.
Yeah, that's cool. Thank you. And yeah, submissions. The first
Because there are a lot
rollout of
of
this.
submissions. Yeah, I already have a Istio Day submission got knocked off, so I'm not having the hopes that high, but let's see.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm also waiting for main track. I think all of the talks that were submitted by me, dual talks and other folks in the company, I think all of them were rejected by allocated event. So no luck there. We are waiting for main track. So I'm not sure like if something will be accepted. So like yeah, and I've seen some people complaining on LinkedIn already, like how come my stuff is not accepted? So yeah, as always, interesting times with KubeCon. uh, Big event, so everything like rejections are totally understandable. A lot of submissions from everybody. Let's see. Anyway, why I'm asking, right? So uh,
Let's see.
because we have these project opportunities, and yeah, we got an mail as a k8gb maintainers and via sandbox, right? So what we are eligible for is if we keen to do it, right? And if we have a confidence that the enough number of people will attend from our community side. So what we can do is in Project Pavilion, so like, seems to be cool, like kind of k8gb booth, right? I remember like in Amsterdam, I believe they were kind of small booths with a purely community projects like crossplay and coordinates, all that stuff. So yeah, and they were reasonably high traffic there. 5-10 minutes lighting talk might be also pretty cool. And Country Fest, I think like it's something like if you go into to that, it might be a very interesting event to organize, right? Gather some people, explain like the broader version, like what we touched already, like test pipeline. Well, the reason of the project, the layout of repositories, test pipelines, how to contribute easily. So Viter, you can guide the session as a fresh contributor. Tanush as well, you send the PR. So like and we can we did it similar stuff with the crossplaying folks, and basically it's like 3 people involved. We're from our side. 2 folks were presenting, 2 folks were helping audience with actual like contributing exercises. So I was the one who was helping people like to contribute to crossplaying in this context. So like it's a very nice exercise, like, and you're getting very interesting feedback right away. Some like super fresh eyes. They're running like 1,000 tests for the same test that you had like for eternity in your code base, and it's failing in parallel. Like I realized like wow, we never noticed this before. So like fresh pair of eyes in the same limited session, it was already useful. So yeah, I like the format. So that's something like we might look into. The thing is that we need to decide until 17th of January with the content. So like we have a week, and yeah. So so far from the community, I think I have a confidence that I will attend, like no matter what. In parallel, so like, but my challenge, I'll need to balance between like about cross-playing activities, right, and the
Yeah.
KGB one, obviously. So like alone, I will not handle it. So so that's why I'm asking for help. And
Okay.
Nuna will be there, right? So like I also think kind of pre-count on him. I still didn't get like full submission from his side. And then if you guys attend it, and if you're keen to participate, that would be like totally awesome. So something like that. I mean, let's see and coordinate synchronously in Slack, and we'll submit something. I mean, maybe like if we not have confidence, we will at least can do some software version of it, at least pavilion, right? So like somebody can hang around, and yeah, even like a not a full conference time, but at least something. I've seen like when we were constantly on cross-playing booths, for example, but I've seen more like fully community projects like Coordinates without a direct vendor support behind, and they were like from time to time they were maintainers hanging around answering questions. So that's it's not zero, at least it's like with their logo, and like it's a good stuff, I believe. So yeah, thanks a lot for this discussion. One thing or a couple of things. I actually just forgot to add. So Tanush, I think maybe it's a good time to discuss your PR. I'll add it to agenda, and what is blocking, what's not blocking, what's your experience. So yeah, let's chat about it. So yeah, I asked the standard maintainer stuff, like we need to add tests, we need to add docs, super high level. So what's your take on it?
No, it definitely makes sense. Actually, there were some things that came up, and I was not able to finish the PR. I'll take a look this weekend maybe, and we'll try to add the unit tests on the reconciliation and the E2E tests. Yeah, documentation. I think I'll take a look later once this PR might get much. So
Yeah,
I don't know what's the
sounds
process though. Yeah, if we require doc to be merged with the code, that's also fine. I'll take a look, but that might block, so that's why.
Yeah, I mean, we can separate actually, like for example, for Cloudflare, I
Mm-hmm.
did like proactively doc together with PR, but what it
Mm-hmm.
led to is that doc were already rendered on the main page. Meanwhile, it wasn't part of the release. So like, we need to be careful with that. So we need to
Mm-hmm.
probably do stage kind of docs separately and release them whenever functionality is available in the latest release, something like that. And we need to streamline this process.
Yeah, makes sense.
One thing, like, can you describe your experience with this code base? Was it hard to figure out how to find your way through the code base, or was it good experience, something in between? I'm just super curious, like a unique newcomer to the project.
Mm-hmm.
So how does it
Yeah,
look like for you?
I mean it wasn't that complicated to understand. I would add. Yeah, it did not. Yeah, I also feel that since this feature is
I
quite
used to work for NASA, building a rocket or building.
Sorry.
yeah, no issue. Yeah, so this feature is
Did you
quite
have somebody from NASA joining?
I was opening LinkedIn and this video popped up. So sorry about that.
no worries. Yeah, so as I was saying, this feature is quite linked to the work that's already done. Like since we already have Ingress as a backend, so this feature was nothing but extending that part to a service uh, of type load balancer. Uh, So I think that most of the code was already in place, but still I do feel that it's not that complicated to understand yet. We are covering most of the stuff, so it's pretty good shape, I'll say.
Cool. Thanks a lot for the feedback. One thing about the documentation, by the way, so like one thing is like, documentation that is kind of customer consumer facing, which is like takes some time, right? But for purely development documentation, I mean, couple of examples how you can use that feature would be great, right? So like just to how to test the PR, for example, end to end. So that's like to provide like maybe example what I did recently with Cloudflare. So I think I add this like how to test this PR. So and I added some examples and meaning like tests like end-to-end tests from a consumer perspective. So added some examples and how to actually configure the specific functionality on a reviewer side. So that might be useful, like to like how to configure the service, and if you can add this part like and it will be development facing documentation, right? So you will not lose it, and it can be like actually like a good
Yeah,
good foundation for a future final
yeah,
doc.
yeah, makes sense. I'll add it in the PR PR content only. Yeah.
Cool. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
And can you maybe discuss like do you have like an use case on your side for this service backend?
Yeah,
Just can
so I think I mentioned on the Slack, I'll just repeat the what I said there. So mostly so we are using load balancer service, load balancer or node port service, and using that we are in getting the traffic into the gateways. So that's just how we are doing it. So nothing specific. We are not using ingress because as ingress, so we are a istio company, like a company
Yeah.
who works mostly on istio. So in istio, ingress object has some specific meaning. Like ingress objects is also read by the istio controller, and it does some logic. And so we just wanted to have a gateway object or virtual service object with the istio native objects to control the traffic. So and just have a Kubernetes service to ingress the traffic in. So we did not want any L7 stuff uh, as part of our ingress spec.
Got it.
So that's why we need the service backend only. So yeah, that was the main ammunition behind like creating this pull request. I'll as I said, I'll just add some tests and we can think about merging this one.
Cool. That makes total sense. Thank you so much for the contribution. And maybe last one, we have a couple of minutes left. There is like was quite a long thread in a Slack about some failure scenario, and Deva was providing some questions like how to react to the specific, if I remember correctly, horizontal network split. So it's still like it sounds to me that there is a desire to some form of end-to-end HTTP check in addition to the standard pod one in k8gb or make some associated decision. Do you know any like a more context? So like
So just a second, let me just remind myself. Just give me a second. Here's the mess. Yeah, so more or less the issue, one of the issue that we are facing is the is related to NS records, which are pointing to the core DNSs. So what the issue here is that if a certain core DNS is down, so that so I'm just putting all the issues here. We'll go to the Devas issue as well, but the first major issue that I feel is that if a code DNS is down and it's on its name is at the top of the NS records list, basically. So what will happen is that first the DNS server will try to get the record from the name server, which is not responding, and it will wait for a timeout, certain timeout to happen. This happened at Route 53, and also I created the DNS private resolver setup that Nuno mentioned. In that also, I got the same issue that when a core DNS is down, then I'm not able to get the response quickly. I'll like after every TTL is passed, I have to wait for 2-3 seconds. So DNS response taking 2-3 seconds is quite huge in that case. So that's one issue. Now what we can do here, like I'm just thinking out loud, mostly to balance this out, we have to make sure, or through k8gb we can look at core DNS health as well, and if it's not healthy, somehow manage those the NS records position somehow. That's one idea.
That's actually a good idea. Yeah. So because like we watch not only the application pod status but coordinates given this its subsystem. Yeah, that's cool.
And the one which Deva mentioned, I recall, is that now we have core DNS as a public endpoint. So we are able to reach core DNS from, so suppose we have two regions, we are able to reach core DNS from both the regions. And the thing is, if there is a network partition between the region, the code so when there is a network partition, since we are coming from an so the consumer here is also an internal consumer. So let's just say that this is a limitation for internal consumer only. So suppose if a consumer is in one of the region and it gets the DNS response of a core DNS of other region. Now, since there is a network partition between both the regions, we are able to get the core DNS IP because it's a public DNS zone, but that core DNS is not reachable. So that was the case that Deva mentioned.
Yeah, but like so the main architecture principle, one of the main principles behind k8gb is that assuming we have a two core DNSs, they should in a standard scenario provide a consistent response, right? So no matter which region you're hitting.
Yeah, but in the split brain scenario, as you mentioned, that what will happen in split brain is that all the coordinates will only serve the local endpoints because there is no way to get the remote state.
Yeah. So it will be like this kind of degraded state.
Yeah, but the public DNS zone can give any of the core DNS IP, right, for getting the response. Now, if again the same thing, if the client is in a east zone and it somehow gets a core DNS IP of a west zone, we are not able to communicate between east and west. So this will generally the use case this will generally happen for is the internal like internal traffic only. For external traffic coming to public zone, this won't be happening because it's like endpoint should be public, and that's not the that that's not the use case though we have for is the internal consumer only. So in that the
so
issue
internal is a part. Yeah. So like what is unique in this story is that it is for you, it is apparently important to reach that the origin of the request is landing to the same region, right? Same as the origin. Otherwise, they
some
can
kind of geo based DNS response. Yes, you caught it right. Yes.
Got it. will you be able to, so it's highly related to this split scenario, I think the documentation and the long-term, like, review of this mechanism. So
Yeah.
can you add your scenarios that you describe, like, short descriptions there, so we can collect them and then we can make some plan what to do about it. That would be amazing.
Yeah, sure, makes sense. I'll add it to this issue. Yes.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, really appreciate it. That's super useful information. More use cases that we never like even hit before in a specific internal limitations. That is golden. Thank you so much. And yeah, I think we are really like out of time. We can continue some asynchronously and some next meeting, but super great stuff. Thank you so much, folks, for attending, and see you in 2 weeks.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Thanks a lot. Cheers. Have a
Bye-bye.
great day. Bye bye.